Welcome to Soccer's Morning Show. It's Tuesday Thoughts here at Soccer Down Here. John here, you there, Maddie Cruz on the ones and twos. And traditionally, Tuesday is our news day where we're catching up on a lot of news that is happening or has happened that we're catching up on ourselves. So there's a lot to go on here. I have an entire page of stuff to get into on both sides of the Atlantic. You got player transfers, possible player transfers. We got stuff out of Major League Soccer, got a lot of stuff out of the Premier League, especially with what happened yesterday. And we've got officials that may or may not be officiating and be in positions that they're traditionally in. You've got talks, you've got injuries, you've got the QOD, and we've got business, and we got a bunch of things. So I guess we're not really in a no dilly, no dally zone. So we'll get kicking here in just a sec. So, but before we go, before we get rolling here on the show, let me bring Maddie in and go over what happened yesterday. And Maddie got to host hour number 2. So, Maddie, now that you've had time to digest hanging out with Bart and Jarrett, what'd you think about hour number 2 yesterday, and the fact that that you got to host and you're going to take my job?
Oh gosh, I don't know if I'm gonna take your job, but I mean, but yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of fun. I mean, we just got to talk all things soccer, so it was pretty fun.
Yeah, and then it was. I was listening in traffic as I was heading to Mercedes-Benz to tape some material for this weekend, and it sounded like you guys were having fun. You were having fun without me, so I blame myself. Quick tease tonight. It is the Tuesday night throwdown. We are in Bogart for Johnson, Gainesville, and North Oconee. It's 5:30 and 7:30. Keep an eye on the weather because it might be a venue change, and if the weather gets really bad, they may have to postpone it. But keep an eye on things. SoccerDownHere.mixler.com, mixlr.com, and you can also go to SoccerDownHere.net and go to the click-through, and you can listen that way. Very busy week for us, Maddie. We have 3 venues this week, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. So we're getting the miles in this week.
Oh, yeah.
And let's see, Thursday, we are at North DeKalb Stadium again for Clarkston and Druid Hills. This one will be really intriguing. And then Friday, it is Hushton for Collins Hill and Mill Creek. So we're going from Oconee County to DeKalb County to Gwinnett County. And I mean like the northern reaches of Gwinnett County when we go to Hushton to catch up with our friends up at Mill Creek, Collins Hill and Mill Creek. So business is picking up for us on a bunch of different fronts. 5:30 and 7:30. Maddie, what's the plan? You and Jason off the top?
Yep, it's going to be me and Jason. Jason's play-by-play. I'm color. We're going to do the girls match, and then John is going to take the reins and do the boys match after us.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens there. But the girls matchup, 2 teams off to a really hot start, and this will be a real interesting matchup with North Oconee and Johnson Gainesville. And you know the story about the Johnson Gainesville boys when they were on our air last time. It was the ending of their 31-game unbeaten streak. And I know that everybody who is a fan of Johnson Gainesville is hoping that that the SDH doesn't turn into a jinx when we show up when it comes to Johnson Gainesville and wins, draws, and losses. So we're going to catch up with our friends from Johnson Gainesville. Boys game, very young North Oconee team, and they're going up against Johnson Gainesville at 7:30. So 5:30, 7:30, Jason and Maddie, they are in charge of the girls match. I'll be with the boys match, and we're all going to try and stay dry inside a press box. So as always, yes. Yeah. So if there's anything on your mind, Maddie, obviously just go ahead and barge right in and we'll go through it. We got a lot of news to talk about today, including questions of the day and all those kinds of things. So thank you for hopping on yesterday and taking the reins. And like I said, barge in when you need to. Okay.
Absolutely, I will. I will promise to get my my audio issues sorted out before I ever have to do it again.
It's all good. All right. So Maddie's going to be in charge of the ones and twos. She's already sending me some news for the morning, and so we'll roll through. So Maddie's going to be with us all morning long, and she's going to dive in and talk things. All right, so Dell is mentioning once again, Ben Pierman's making the rounds. He was on Morning Footy this morning. Apparently, a connection to Latin American players, Fidel Barajas going to RSL, and then getting a call up to a U20 side. So Ben Pierman getting close. Morning, Abby, and we'll get into opening kickoff and promote scarves. And what I'm going to do, sidebar, I'm going to talk about, obviously, we're going to talk about the Marshall Islands scarf, but I've got an idea for match days. So we'll get into that and coming up in just a little bit. Okay. Opening kickoff. And it is stupidity down here. Opening kickoff brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. There's your QR code for those of you who are watching either on Twitch, on our YouTube channel, or on the 280-character app. You click on that QR code, go to our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Use the code SoccerDownHere15. You get 15% off your purchase. They, in turn, take 10%, reinvest it into the youth game and youth initiatives that they have earmarked as cool stuff. And that way you get to enjoy Kickoff Coffee, and they get to help out youth games and youth initiatives. Very, very cool stuff from our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Yeah, Abby, if you want to put the Google Doc in, that'd be great. And we'll rock and roll from there. But we'll get into my idea also for game days coming up in just a sec. All right, morning forecard, morning, Abby. All right, it's stupidity down here. And I know that disappointingly or sadly, or however you want to phrase it, you're going to end up with a consistent round of stupidity down here. And yesterday, it came out in the news that, and I don't know if you saw this, Christian Pulisic is getting death threats now. Death threats. Shouldn't necessarily be, yeah, exactly, forecard. We need to come up with a banner. 0 days since stupidity didn't happen. So we do need to come up with one of those things like we have at a construction site, 0 days since stupidity. Pulisic was involved in the incidents leading to the ejections of two of the three Lazio players, and they were sent off in AC Milan's 1-0 win on the weekend. So naturally, that means that as someone who knows all about being CONCACAF, and the highlight is that one of the highlights is out there about how Pulisic went very, very CONCACAF and drew one of the Lazio players into a card. Target of abuse on social media, and this is from our friends at Soccer America. Once again, no surprise that you're going to get targeted on social media. I get that. You know, people who feel like they have what we used to refer to as Twitter muscles. And so now I guess it's 280 character muscles. So abused on social media, no real surprise. And it includes death threats to him and his family. Death threats to him and his family. You know, I mean, that's real classy-ish. To give you an idea, here's one of the folks at AC Milan Sydney actually posted some of these. One of the insults, quote, "You and your family must die," end quote. Lazio fans going toward Christian Pulisic on social media. The account on Instagram that was listed, Milan Pulse _ I'm not recommending that you go and click on it because then you're giving them oxygen, but that's just the account as it was posted by our friends at AC Milan Sydney. They listed, Milan Pulse Sydney listed the comments. Actually, you might give this one air if you want to see it. It's not the one that did it, sorry. So Milan Pulse _ they posted a bunch of the stupid death threats for Christian Pulisic. And it's just the dumbest thing today. Like I said, you get 0 days since stupidity happened, and it is frustrated, Lazio fans that decided to sit there and say, yeah, you and your family must die. So classy folks going after Christian Pulisic, and they posted a photo in which he celebrated the win with teammates on Instagram, cautioned in stoppage time for a foul on Guendouzi, who was red carded for retaliation. Pellegrini ejected earlier in the match for yellow cards on Pulisic 6 minutes apart. And Lazio also had Adam Maruzic sent off in stoppage time. AC Milan on Okafor's goal, 13 points behind the league leaders. Inter Milan, 1 point behind second place Juve. But yeah, sure. Go ahead and send death threats. That's just real classy. I would once again recommend, and this is why we do this. This is why we post these kinds of things. I would recommend that the club, I would recommend AC Milan sit there and track these folks down. I don't know how vigorous they're going to be in this regard. I hope that they're incredibly vigorous. And I would hope that these individuals are found and not just like Lazio 9842 2008 24 is found out to be some dummy account someplace. You got to find these folks. You've got to prosecute them within the fullest extent of the law, within an inch of their legalities. And you got to make sure that they're in a position never to do it again. I mean, that would also require social media companies to sit there and crack down on this kind of stuff. And once again, that would be 1 day since that happened. So once again, Christian Pulisic gets death threats. I've always thought that we should expose people for their own stupidity. And sadly, yes, 4Card, it is 0 days since we last had stupidity on this construction site. So that's opening kickoff. Just wanted to put that out there for you to sit there and go, yes, people continue to be stupid when it comes to this kind of thing. Dell saying, could you imagine these people in Atlanta traffic? Well, they wouldn't be moving, first and foremost. They would all be at a standstill. And maybe a standstill, in a hands-free state, maybe a standstill is a good thing, because then that way they're not on their mobile device and they're being forced to actually pay attention to, 2 hands on the wheel and driving on the road to get from point A to point B. But yeah, you got to find these folks. You got to make sure that you really take your proverbial pound of flesh and you've got to prosecute them within the fullest extent of the law. Because, yeah, sure, let's just go ahead and say, yeah, you and your family must die. That's classy-ish. Oh, my God. But, yeah, that was a bit of a leftover from the weekend, but I thought it was necessary to bring to the table once again as we reset to 0. Stupidity down here. And Dell is like, we need a public square again where we can put them on display. It wouldn't be a bad idea. I wouldn't necessarily have them hanging in the gallows or whatever. I wouldn't necessarily put them there, but there's got to be a way that you can. Morning, Harry. We're talking stupidity. So there's got to be a way to expose them for being the idiots that they are. So we'll see. Tom mentions, yeah, wait a minute. You think people actually follow that law? It's the reason there's so much traffic half the time, because some idiot on their phone caused a wreck, Tom. I can neither condone. Thank you, Hutch. It's stocks, the stockade. Yeah. Tom, I can neither condone nor endorse violating a law. So I have to say things optimistically. I have to say things when it comes to being sure that folks are paying attention to the laws of the road. I can't sit there and say, yeah, when you're behind the wheel and you're at a stoplight, text. I can't do that. So it's just, look, 2 hands on the wheel, get from point A to point B, get stuck in traffic. Welcome to Atlanta. All right, so that is opening kickoff. Brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee, kickoffcoffeeco.com. Once again, there's your QR code for those of you who are watching on Twitch, on our YouTube channel, or on the 280 character app. Don't forget to use the code SoccerDownHere15. You get 15% off of your purchase. They, in turn, take 10% reinvested into cool stuff, youth initiatives, and programs that they have earmarked to continue to grow the game, thanks to our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. All right, housekeeping. There's the scarf. Once again, remember, $32 helps out the Marshall Island Soccer Federation. The recent 2-on-1 that we had with the technical director of the Fed, Lloyd Hours, and the director of marketing and communication, Matt Law. They were in Northwest Arkansas this past week, and the pictures are out. Follow all of them on the 280 character app to continue, and on all of social medias, so you can continue to see the growth that they are trying to engage not just with everybody in Oceania and in Micronesia, but here in the States as well because of the Marshallese population. So they came to Northwest Arkansas. The 2v1 is up. I would give it a listen. It's an update on what they were doing. That's the scarf to help out the Marshall Islands Soccer Federation, and it's to continue to grow the game. Once again, 32. If you want the Abstermobile to visit, I can ship it in the mail, maybe another 5, so 32 and 7. So that is the scarf right there that helps out the Marshall Islands Soccer Federation continuing to grow the game, fund their programs, and bring them forward as well as they continue to grow the game. And now Abby, obviously, since she is in charge of doing the Abstermobile deliveries, says that no, I hit the wrong one. I thought that it would go back to where it was. So Abby, yeah, just want to put the Google Doc in here. Supposed to send those to those who paid. We can send out and have people fill out after they pay, and she can mark it paid. Also, Abby, what I want to do is I'm going to print the page on cardstock, and the next time I see you, I will give it to you so you can have it there in the supporters section so folks can see what's actually going on. And so that way they can see the benefits of it, they can invest, and they can actually see the fruits of their labor. So it would be like the order form from the website. I'm going to print it on cardstock, give it to you, and you can have it there in the supporters, in the supporters area, whatever you want to call it, the supporters lot, and folks can come by and see what they're up to and what they can do to help out the Marshall Islands. So that's the scarf. And that is helping out Abby and helping out the Marshall Islands. 32 if you want the Abstermobile to deliver, or if you want to maybe even pick it up at a future home game, or 32 and maybe 5 if you want to have it shipped in the mail. So once again, that's our friends at the Marshall Islands, and you can help them out as well. So that's the early stuff. We bring in Jarrett. Jarrett's here early in the morning, and we've gone through stupidity down here, so you don't have to worry about that. And I know that yesterday there was some stuff that you guys got to discuss. And thank you, the Gulch. I didn't know if it was. Is it officially the Gulch? Are we gulching, Tom? Is that how this goes? I mean, is it officially the Gulch? Are you back at the Gulch instead of the lot that you were at?
Gulching sounds like a very uncomfortable verb to use.
Yes. Yeah. The activity of being at the Gulch. You were gulching.
I know, but I know what it is. From here, I know everything. I know what's going on here. If you tell someone, "Hey, I'm going to go gulch today," that sounds incredibly uncomfortable or inappropriate, or both.
It does. It absolutely does. So yeah. I mean, like I was trying to come up with an active verb. So the collective name for all the SGs is wherever they are, it's the Gulch. Okay. And Rich Ransom doing the breaking news from the Northeast. It is per John George of the Philadelphia Business Journal, Philadelphia Union, exploring the idea of expanding Subaru Park to have more premium areas and general seating to increase the overall seating beyond the current capacity of 18.5. Oh my God, you need to. Club has sought out the help of the Gensler design firm, Philadelphia-based, to help identify opportunities to expand the seating. 9 different plans the union are evaluating. None will be implemented before 2025. The union have added more than a dozen new sponsors, renewed or extended deals with 14 existing corporate sponsors. And so doing the Lord's work, Rich has the link to the Jose Nunez tweet and the link to the article. So, oh my God, do you need to expand? I didn't know it was 18.5. Boy, do you need to expand past 18.5. You're doing yourself a disservice by being that small. I get it when you built the place, but you've got to be larger than 18.5 these days. I think you do because of the demand of tickets in Major League Soccer. But yeah, right now, so it appears that the folks in Chester are looking to expand. You just can't expand one direction. You can look at the other 3. If you expanded in one other direction, you'd end up in the river, and that would be bad. Although seeing a soccer ball maybe being launched into the river like they do in Pittsburgh occasionally would be kind of funny. But 18.5, too small. You've got to expand it. And I'm glad that you're looking into that because it's long overdue. Jarrett, what's on your mind this morning?
Honestly, not a ton. We got Champions League this week, kind of getting prepped for that. I'm in preparation mode right now because I'm about 15 days out from U.S. Open Cup game to cover for Apotheos. We've got we have Apotheos hosting U.S. Open Cup at Silverbacks Park. So
Georgia Lions from
Lions.
Lisa.
Don't even know where Georgia Lions are playing.
I don't either.
Don't know that they do either.
I don't either.
I know they've mentioned Dalton, but I don't know if that's set in stone.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like I'm kind of in gear up mode for that to see what's going on for Apotheos, and then also I don't have to call the game this weekend for Atlanta, so I'm not geared up like prepping for New England the same way.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go enjoy the New England game, and then eventually, we have Tuesday games coming out soon. Also, the NPSL schedule should be out very shortly as well.
Yeah. So business is about to pick up pretty quick.
You ain't joking.
Yesterday, there was I discussed it early in the show, in hour number 1, about what Charlotte might be doing, and bringing in a player that you know a lot about from your attempts to corrupt Maddie into understanding and appreciating the Scottish split, because I remember that from yesterday's hour number 2.
Somewhere, and I firmly believe somewhere Jason just screamed, but he doesn't know why he screamed. He just knows that he felt like this strong urge to just scream to the abyss.
Yeah, and so you got that particular news. Liela Bada, right now, it appears, and I say the word appears because there's nothing officially official, but there are discussions going on between Celtic and Charlotte to bring Abada over. And initially, there was talk of it being 3 to 4 million pounds. Yesterday, it came out that it's looking more like 10 million to bring Abada over. What do you think? What are folks getting into? What are Jess and Willie P getting into if Abada makes it over to Charlotte?
Well, similar to what we talked about before. I mean, he is a goal dangerous. He's double-digit goals last 2 seasons across all competitions. And there were a lot of goals to go around for the last 2 years at Celtic because it was Ange Postecoglou basically taping the accelerator to the floor. Didn't really matter the score. They just went for it constantly. But a very goal dangerous winger, tricky. A lot of what they did was they would get their wingers wide. And if you've watched Spurs, you've seen some of the magic of this, or some of the idea of this is they'll get their wingers very wide, and they'll underlap their fullbacks into that half space through the channels. But when they get out wide, they can be very tricky on the dribble, and he can be tricky on the dribble. He'll also have those moments where he just kind of disappears for the game, but he'll show up when you need him to. Like he had those games where like you forgot he was there till he scored in like the 84th minute. But he has if you go look up his highlights, he has a lot of like waiting at the back post, making diagonal run into the box, timing it really well kind of things. Just depends on how they're able to play with him, because he has not been great this year, but he started the year banged up. I think he's played 10 games. He wasn't starting every game even when he was healthy, and I think he was trying to get back into it. And then you have the whole the whole issue in Israel with Palestine that really weighed on him and was mentally impacting him. And I think Brendan Rodgers was giving him time off and letting him deal with his own personal concerns with that, and any mental stress he was dealing with it. But it sounds like he wanted to get out. And if the thing is because the original report I think was like 3 million,
it was.
which would have been a steal. He's 22 years old. He'll come in under the initiative. So it's not going to kill you on the cap hit either way. But he is, if it was 3 million, it would have been a heist.
Yes.
Like we should have reported Charlotte for theft.
Yes.
10 million pounds, $8 million, give or take, however you want to translate it. That's more in line. Celtic actually gets a profit out of that because I think they paid $5 million for him when they got him. out of Israel, 4 or 5 million.
Second division club in Israel, I think, gets at least 20% of the pass as well.
So Celtic will make a little profit off of that, so they'll be fine with it. And I think it's the best thing for all parties. Like Charlotte did all their business at the end of the window for whatever reason. With Joswiak and with what's his name? Swiderski.
Yes,
they did their business at the end of that window. It was always going to be tougher to bring guys in because, like, yeah, MLS's window is still open till April, but other people's windows are not. So you're looking for guys like this who are like out of favor, who are looking for a change of scenery and where it can benefit both of them. Like, that's what you need at this point.
Yeah.
If you're Charlotte, that's who you're going to go and get, because you're not going to be able to get like key impact guys from other clubs right now because those other clubs, their window is closed. They're not going to want to sell. So I wouldn't be surprised if they bring in another player in the summer to fill one of the other spots. But yeah, I think this is best for all parties. He gets out of Glasgow, where it's gotten really uncomfortable for him, and he can get a fresh start, hopefully stay healthy. And then for Charlotte, you're not really buying low on him because his value has gone up over the last few years, but like you're getting a guy who just needs a change of scenery, who's still 22 years old.
Yeah.
And you're seeing what you can squeeze out of him. But we'll see how he fits into what Dean Smith wants to do. They've been really structured the first 2 games, Charlotte has. So, let's see what it does. But yeah, very, very goal dangerous winger. I think he's good on the dribble. I think he's going to have those stretches where he's good, or he just kind of disappears. But like I say, he moves well off the ball. He'll find those moments where like he'll score a goal after doing nothing all day. So
yeah, and so I know a lot of us were looking at that 3 to 4 million, sitting there going, man. But now you're like 10, and you're going, okay, that sounds a little bit more normal. And Charlotte, because as you said, they don't have Juzviak or Swiderski anymore. They need DPs and they need help up top. And he would be a U22. He'd be a U22.
Yeah, for one more year.
Yeah, so he would help them out in the cap sense for this season, and then they'd have to figure out what the heck they were going to do in future seasons if Abada does come over and he is a part of that offense.
Well, I mean, I think you're just going to convert him to a regular DP at that point. And if he gives you what he's shown he could do in the past, like if he does what he did at Celtic, and keep in mind, like, again, the last 2 years, that winger room, especially last year, was really busy because James Forrest is 110 years old now, but James Forrest came up through Celtic's academy. He's been a part of Celtic for 20 odd years now.
Right.
But James Forrest still was getting minutes. Daisen Maeda was in Japan, would scored at the World Cup for Japan. Jota is a Portuguese winger who went to the Middle East and didn't even get registered. It was really weird, but
yes.
like one of the Saudi clubs offered Celtic like 30 million for him.
Yeah.
Which for comparison is let's say somebody rolled in and offered Atlanta like 35 million for Saba Lobshanica. That's what we're talking about. Where we're like, well, yeah, we're gonna take it. We're never getting that offer again.
Yeah.
It's not to say he's bad, but it's above value.
Yeah. Hey man. Yeah. You want to offer us that? We're not going to sit here.
They offered Celtic a deal like nobody in Saudi Arabia had a globe and thought Celtic was in England.
Yeah.
Like the England surcharge applied to the Scottish teams. I promise it doesn't. Go ask the English clubs when they go and they go take players out of Scotland. It's not the same thing, but that was a very busy winger room. So I mean, he was fighting for time there.
Yep.
But if he gives you like I think in league, I think he had like 9 goals and 6 assists. If he gives you that in his first year, kind of getting resettled, dealing with a lot of what's on his mind with the war, I think you'd be happy with that. And then you want to build on that because, again, he's still just 22 years old.
Yeah. So there's room for Abada. So keep an eye on that particular transaction, probably happening involving Charlotte. And they're going to, once again, they bring in Abada. He's a U22, but they're going to have to save one of those DP spots for next year because of Abada and the Earth rotating and having birthdays and cakes and things. Tom, in addition to stupidity down here, is classifying a particular moment from the Bundesliga as another stupidity down here moment. Did you see at the end of the Darmstadt match, the ultra that went onto the field and basically dressed down the club in front of the supporters section? They lose to Augsburg 6-0 at home. The ultra goes onto the field and for like a minute and a half is screaming at the top of his lungs at the club. And they're all standing there and taking it. I mean, literally, it's like dude comes out of the stands. He's letting them have it with both barrels, and the club is just standing there and watching him do it. I mean, no cops, none of the Sûreté came and grabbed him by the arms to put him back up in the stands, because I think this is something that they do there at Darmstadt. I think that an ultra is allowed to come down and have either a pep talk or whatever with the club. I think this is a part of their fabric. And that's why you didn't see cops rushing the guy or anything like that, because I think, if I remember reading it, because I thought I picked this up someplace, that the ultras are allowed to come down and address the club after a match. And it just so happened that in this particular instance, it was a 6-0 drubbing at home. And so this particular ultra is just letting them have it. And I mean,
this is just the Alabama call-in show, but more personal.
Yes. So I mean, it is the Nick Saban show, or now the Kalen DeBoer show.
I want to see how Kalen handles that time. The first time they lose a stupid game.
Like
not even like a game where they get outplayed, but like the mid 2000s Ole Miss Hugh Freeze games. Like, you remember like Chad Kelly like winning a game against Alabama where he bobbled the snap, just slung it out there, it bounced off someone's hands and landed on a wide receiver's hands, and he ran for a touchdown. Like that kind of game where the universe has decided you're going to lose this game and there's nothing you can do about it.
And so literally dude comes out onto the field, and it was a good minute and a half rant. I mean, it was solid. He is what is released on tape is a solid minute 40. And he is just letting it go, and he is yelling. And the players, they're just staring. They're standing there and they're taking it. I give the players credit. I mean, they're staring at that ultra and taking in every word that he said. I know that there are a lot of situations where I'm sure on this particular side of the Atlantic, I know that there are folks that would love to have that kind of an opportunity either with their college football team or something like that. Yeah, could you imagine a call-in show? The Kalen DeBoer show after that loss that you're talking about, Jarrett, and somebody from Sylacauga comes in, stands right there in front of the table, and is just letting Kalen DeBoer have it, and DeBoer's got to sit and take it. That is what happened in the Bundesliga, and so I'm sure that a lot of us could have our favorite situations and try and translate where we would like to have something like that happen.
In lieu of all this, I just realized what the next great MLS conspiracy could be.
Oh, what?
Imagine the next conspiracy being the same thing that impacts baseball, where like people lie about guys' age. It's coming out of South and Central America.
Okay.
Imagine guys hitting up the taking U22 spots.
Yeah.
And then you just this guy's 18 years old. He's actually 21.
Yeah.
And you just steal like an extra 3 years on somebody's U22 eligibility. Now I've decided I'm waiting for this.
Who was the pitcher, the little league pitcher that was really
Danny Almonte?
Thank you, Danny Almonte. I couldn't think of his last name, but you'd have like a Danny Almonte situation.
Who's the other guy?
See, now you're going to go searching.
Well, Fausto Carmona, that was his name. Whose real name was Alberto Hernandez. He pitched for the Indians in the mid 2000s. But his age was off by 3 years.
Of course it was.
He was suspended for legitimately identity fraud because he had lied about his age and his name, which is funny because there was another Roberto Hernandez on the Indians.
Yeah.
He went by the name Fausto Carmona, and then it came out that wasn't his name, and he was 3 years older than he said he was. Now that's what I'm waiting for. Maybe not the name part, but I'm waiting for like someone to sign some 20-year-old out of Central America as a U22. It's like, yes, 20-year-old kid's amazing. He's actually 22 now.
Yeah, he's
But
20.
we're going to steal 3 more years out of him.
You see, we got the birth certificate right here. That's how it goes. All right, so we can go in any one of two directions. I can either pose the QOD or we can talk about news out of Major League Soccer because of something that was released yesterday out of Major League Soccer.
Let's do that.
All right. We got an all-star game, and it is in Columbus at the Death Star in July 24th at lower.com, and it is the MLS All-Stars and the Liga MX All-Stars. That was announced yesterday. You're going to have the skills challenge, 10 stars on each side. That's the day before at 7:30 on Season Pass. But now, once again, it is MLS, Liga MX. That is your all-star game format. And, if you're interested in going, tickets go on sale March the 8th. But once again, I look at this, I get it. I understand it. 12 players by a fan vote, 12 players selected by Wilfred Nancy, 2 players selected by Don Garber. Fan voting is going to start at a later date. 26 players for Liga MX. You've got all the weekend stuff and all that. MLS All-Stars won the previous All-Star matches, including the 2021 in LA and the 2022 match at Allianz. And now they're tied in the All-Star Skills Challenge. Liga MX won in 21, MLS won in 22, and leaving the 2024 to break the tie. So if you're into those kinds of statistics. So now we have an all-star game. We have a format. We have an opponent. And it is and folks are looking at this, and this is how I'm interpreting it, as almost like your tease for Leagues Cup. And so what you're doing is you're getting both of them in one building. It's your tease for Leagues Cup, and it's going to be in an all-star game format in Columbus.
I still don't know. I still don't love any of the formatting.
Look, the bottom line is that they need to take our idea.
We fixed it last year.
We did.
You, me, and Nick fixed it last year, and they never adopted it. So, I can only lead a horse to water. I cannot make it drink, Mr. Garber.
Yeah, I mean,
I can't. I can only do so much for you. You have to finish this drill yourself. I mean, we gave you the idea.
Abby did the work and sent the idea to the league office. And in 40 minutes here on the show, we solved the problem of the All-Star game. We absolutely did. And you can, as you said, look, we gave it to them. We gave them an entertaining format. We gave them an entertaining way to go about it. I'll probably just repost it anyway, since we now have the announcement. I will probably pull the segment and post it to the network later today, since we now have a 2024 version of this. It would have been an amazing extravaganza of talent and randomness that would have been unsurpassed by any other league in any other All-Star game. But you chose to do the tease for Leagues Cup. I get it. I don't know how exciting it's going to be. I don't know how many Liga MX fans are going to make their way to Columbus, Ohio for this. It will be interesting to find out what the numbers are if they're ever released. But, you make your announcement, great. Okay, fine. Late July is an all-star game. It's probably the quickest conversation that we've ever had about an all-star game.
Yeah, I mean,
we fixed it.
They tinker with the formula every year. It's fine. It's whatever. I don't really care about any all-star game. There are 2 things I pay attention to when it comes to all-star festivities in any sport. One of which is the home run derby.
Okay.
With which I'm going to try and find a way. If I have to climb inside of if I have to climb inside of a box and smuggle myself into this year in Atlanta, I would love to go to the home run derby.
Yeah.
The other one is the NHL Skills Challenge.
Yeah.
And I say that as the slam dunk contest has just gotten weird. Where I still like it, but it's just kind of gotten weird for me. Otherwise, I don't really care about your all-star game.
I really don't. why should I care is I think how you're going to be seeing a lot of fans. Why should I care? Why should I watch? And I'd love to know what, like I said, I'd love to know what the viewership levels are for the big 3 or 4, and see if there's a downward trend when these things are kind of metered. And it's just literally, we came up with a reason to make you care because it's so off the wall, fun, and interactive that you can't have anything but a good time with the way that we fix things. Maddie's jumped in. Maddie, what's on your mind?
I absolutely despise the All-Star game. And I mean this in like the most mean way I could possibly do it. Why? I don't understand. Why?
Rich, this is to Rich's point. Maddie, I don't know if you've ever. We'll have to dig this up for you, because we fixed it last year and it was debauchery. To Rich's point though, and Rich, you've nailed it on the head. This is exactly how I feel about it, man. Is that All-Star game? Why are we trying to make it so serious?
Mm-hmm.
It should be fun and stupid and off the wall, and you should have more questions than you should have more questions than answers when the All-Star game is over.
Mm-hmm.
So what was this plan? Like, what did y'all like?
Hang on. Well, all right. Filibuster for a little bit. I'm going to see if I can download it and play a little bit of it. So,
Filibustering.
Yeah.
I feel like you should have it like. Listen, I honestly did like the Pro Bowl, like how they did it for NFL. I liked all the weird, like quirky little things that they were doing. Like I thought that was fun. And so I feel like if you're gonna do something like that. Like all these like crazy skill challenges. You should even have like them do like the old format of MLS, how they would used to do penalty kicks, where they would run up from the center and then
35-yard NASL style.
Do it. Why not?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No.
To Dell's point, yes, it's an American thing that they feel like they have to have, but I did like it when they played Premier League teams. Hey, it's a little more fun, yeah. Because it's cool to see like the Premier League teams come in. I know you had Juventus come into Atlanta, and like Ronaldo showed up for like 5 minutes and like wasn't gonna play. Like,
my God!
But the thing is, like when you do that, you're getting basically that Premier League team's academy. Like they're not gonna go out there.
You absolutely are.
They're not gonna go out there and put themselves on the line. The NBA All-Star game being high scoring, yeah. If you like get weird with this, like turn it into like 5-a-side. Put them on a small, take them down to Atlantic to 5 points and put them on the mini pitches, and just like let them go do that. Or I don't know, like give it something, or make it indoor where like you can play the ball off the glass.
Yeah. Like the old indoor rules where you can bounce it off the glass and things like that and keep it going.
Yeah. Like the soccer tournament, the TST.
Yeah.
TST is the perfect. It was the perfect, most absurd format of this sport that was absolutely flawlessly applied.
Mm-hmm. And you end up with, Dell, it's an American thing, and feel like they have to have, but I did like it when they played the Premier League teams. But once again, you're still bringing those teams over, but what you end up doing is, you're not making it enjoyable because they're bringing those 12-year-olds over. I mean, it's just it's something where you're going, all right, we need the payday, and we'll bring them over and we'll sell the joint out, and you get to see a bunch of kids wearing 60s, 70s, and 80s. If that's cool. Rich, yeah, and I mean, Rich, the high scoring All-Star games for for the NBA, those are fine. I mean, the 189 to 174 kind of things, that's what you're looking at for the NBA, and everybody's, friend went last year, said 90% Arsenal fans in the crowd. Abby wants a hockey rink. Dell likes your idea, Jared, about TST. Abby wants north, south, and east and west and those kinds of things. So Abby said this. Here we go. Abby says, I sent all of our ideas we fixed last year and never got a response.
They probably didn't open it, first of all. Anyone who did open it probably wondered who our supplier was for whatever hallucinogens we on. we were on at that moment.
Yeah.
And then just like maybe kept it for a giggle and then probably hit the delete button.
All right.
then emptied the recycling bin just for security reasons.
All right. So fine. Here's part of it. You're stuck with it.
I preferred I would love if they would be able to keep doing the thing where it's like, hey, we're gonna get Liga MX to bring up a bunch of guys,
That's the first
and
thing.
we'll bring our guys, and we'll just have a U.S. Mexico, a hootenanny. I liked that idea personally.
So Jared had the hootenanny figured out last year.
If you want to get rid of the actual All-Star game altogether, good luck. It's not going to happen. There's too much money involved, and there's too much history involved, and they're not going to do it. I know history is a relative term for a league that has only been around since the mid-'90s, but it has value to them. They don't just want to drop it straight out. But I guess find a way to make it fun as possible to watch and fun for the players as well, because when you watch an All-Star game, you can tell real damn quick which ones are having fun and which ones is just like, I'm just here because I get the extra paycheck and a little vacation and I have to play, and I'm kind of about it all. Like, baseball has had a couple stretches like that. NFL has tried, and I give NFL a lot of credit. They are trying different things. It's not always going to work, but I appreciate the effort to try and make it more fun. Bring back goalie wars, for God's sakes. Keep the skills competitions going. Let them have fun and let people see the human, fun, childlike side of these
Jared
people,
mentioned goalie wars last year. What did we see?
Well, we got goalie wars back, Matt.
Yeah,
so
I don't want.
Go ahead.
Oh, it's all right. So let me see if this picks back up.
Any teams.
Okay, go.
Players, and by the way, Milan is no longer an Adidas team. They are a Puma team.
Puma, okay.
Yeah, they are Puma team.
Right.
The Burn was asking in the chat, but I don't want any player to get injured against some European academy team.
Nope.
It makes no sense. This is where I think the NBA does a really good job, where they do like the pickup game format, where it's like, we're going to name 2 captains and then you pick your teams. It doesn't necessarily have to be East-West. It doesn't have to be, where you could have like Almada picking his team and then you could have, Carlos Vela pick his team. And that's just how it goes, right?
So basic, and that literally, so what I'll do is a public service. I'll post this later. It was about 40 minutes of the Twitch pitch and all of us figuring out a solution. And in that clip that I just played, Jarrett, they actually listened. They picked up 2 of your ideas.
It's great.
Liga MX is one of them, and they brought back goalie wars as a part of the skills competition.
My only concern with this, and I am glad they brought back the goalie wars and skills competitions, because that part is fun. Like, I think what you're looking for is, if you're going to do this stuff, you want guys to have fun with it. And my core memory of all of this is going back to like the mid 90s and early 2000s, when every baseball player was up to their ears in steroids, and you would see guys doing the home run derby, and you had like Mark McGwire like hitting balls over the monster, like.
Yeah.
Basically trying to hit balls to Providence.
Yeah.
Sammy Sosa hitting them up into the 755 club
Yeah.
at Turner Field. But you had guys like sitting there with their camcorders out with their kids, like goofing off and being silly. Like, you want those fun moments, and you have to find a way to make it fun for them. I know a lot of people want a goalie wars back for the retro sake of it, but when you get that one thing back, you can't just wash your hands of it and then pretend like it didn't happen, and then retweet one little highlight from it and then nothing again. Like, if you're going to do this, you have to commit to that task. You have to commit to making this fun, because, like I said, you want to find the humanity in this of all these guys who are just being dumb. Because ultimately, a lot of these people are paid to play a game. It's an amazing experience, and one that we all love and dream about our entire lives. Let them have fun with it. And if you can't do that, then scrap the whole damn thing and let everyone have a vacation.
Yep.
I'm not going to lose sleep if you do that.
Yeah. Maddie, go for it.
I like those ideas. I liked the goalie war. I really did. I thought that was a lot of fun. Yeah, I mean, I think they should make it more fun. Like, it's like you have the skills competition, but like even the skills competition, like it's still like a lot of players are just doing it, and like they're like, okay, I'm here. Like, just come up with fun ways to make it like more fun. Let us see the players just like have fun and be who they are. It's very rare that we get to see the players like actually like have like sit down like fun moments. And I think it's fun. You love getting to do that stuff. As a fan, you love to see it.
So one of the weird things we did during the All-Star game in Atlanta in 2018 is they played like these little pickup tournaments at 5 points at the pickup area. We actually had a bunch of people from MLS come down, from MLS Digital. So we had like Weeby, we had Bobby Warshaw when he was still working there.
And Goss was there.
Yeah. And they came down there, and then we had all of the podcasts from Atlanta at the time. And then we just started like trading out, and just people were just jumping in and talking about random stuff while also halfway commentating these weird little pickup games. And it was dumb, but it was kind of funny. And it was kind of silly, but it wasn't professionals doing it. But like, have that kind of approach to it where it's just kind of dumb and silly, and like, please be reminded at all times that we are playing a game, that we are watching a game. It is a sporting event. That is where it begins and ends forever and ever. Amen. I also fully endorse the idea that I think Rich had of like, hey, what if we just did like Comic Ball or Comic CONCACAF versus the world? Like, do old world, new world. Yeah, KFC got that. Yes.
Nice.
It was such a weird night. But yeah, like, you old world versus new world, like split them up.
Yeah,
like have Messi pick his team, like do it like NBA style. Have Messi pick his team, but he can't pick anyone he played with at Barcelona.
That'd be pretty funny. That'd be a good one, Rich. That's a good addition. I mean, literally what we came up with, and this is the greatest hits. Like I said, as a public service, I'll post it to the network later today. We ended up with the game at Mercedes-Benz. We had the boards up, and we didn't have plexi, but we had the boards up for like your hockey games. You have your indoor soccer. You can bounce the ball off of the boards and continue to play it. You can bounce it and pass it to yourself. You had hot tags and hot changes, so you weren't having to wait for a fourth to sit there and hold up a banner for a hot change. Literally, you could tag in and tag out like wrestling. Literally, you're off to the edge, and you want to sit there and tag out. You tag out. You make the jumping tag. You're trying to stop a rush. You make the jumping tag to the hot guy. They go in. You're pulling random folks from the broadcast booth. You have to make sure that they're prepared, or if they're not, it's even funnier. Like, if you want to make a hot tag and you summon Kevin Egan from the anchor desk, you have to do it. There is no, I'm in a suit. No, you tag in Kevin Egan. You're on the field. You tag in Kevin. You go on the hot mic in the PA and you go, I'm tagging out Kevin Egan. Get down here. You have to go. There is no substitution rule where, I'm in a suit and a tie. No. Liam McHugh, no. You can't. I mean, if you wanted to tag in Sasha or BWP, you can. If you want to tag in Kalen Kyle, you can. But you want to do a hot tag.
This is my judge. I know Kalen Kyle caught a lot of heat from the Minnesota people this week.
Yeah.
I just want to like make it clear and remind people Kalen Kyle actually played this game at a pretty high level.
Yeah, Canadian national team.
Yeah, don't tag her in thinking you're going to embarrass her, because she'll probably skin you alive.
Yeah,
and then she'll probably literally skin you alive.
Yeah, and if there are legends in the building, you can bring out a legend, and it's like the Royal Rumble intro where you have the countdown clock and the smoke, and instead of coming in from through the Delta 365, you're coming in from the end zone, and you have all the smoke and the fire and the flame and everything, and it's Carlos Valderrama, one of those. You have those moments too, and literally, somebody's got a sheet of paper with a master list, like Ronaldinho's there, and you tag in Ronaldinho, and I think Nick mentioned, was it you and Nick that mentioned that TurboTax would sponsor it, so that way, whatever their appearance fee was, they wouldn't get in trouble?
Yes.
So those kinds of things.
Because every one of the people you've mentioned has had tax issues.
Yes. But the thing is,
You announced Darren Eales as a surprise combatant, and Darren Eales doesn't come through the tunnel. He just like comes down the stairs at like section 104.
Yeah.
And just jumps over the wall onto the field and starts running out there and playing.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so, I mean, Dell is like, what if you had a game with new rules, like no offside? Maybe the forwards stay in the final third and make lines, unlimited subs like hockey. Yeah. Once a half, every player can pick up the ball and use their hand. Yeah. And you can throw it and do whatever. I mean, legitimately, you end up with stuff like this, and you're literally, the hot tag was one of the first things we came up with. Unlimited substitutions. It doesn't matter because, I mean, honestly, if all right, so let's run through. So Sasha and BWP might still have a couple of minutes in them. Kevin plays pickup, so he would have no issues with it. But honestly, if somebody like I said, if it's Zidane or Ronaldinho or whomever, and they've only got a couple of minutes in them, fine. Just, tag, go, you're in, you run around for a couple of minutes, you get your 50 grand and you're back out the door, and you make your grand exit and everybody cheers and waves, and you get all this kind of stuff going literally for 90 minutes.
See, this is perfect because Kevin already has, he's already done stuff with WWE. He could just announce it like that.
Well, and the thing is that Kevin, or if you tagged in,
Kevin Patrick jumps in.
Yeah.
Kevin Egan comes out. Kevin Patrick goes in.
Literally. And I mean, it's so if
Kevin dies, his heart just explodes.
Yeah, you had like Diego Valeri, Gio Savarese, Kevin, Kalen, BWP, Sasha. If you're working television for that match, you still have to wear your microphone and your IFB when you play. You still have to wear those because you remember the All-Star game and Brad is wearing the IFB and the mic and he's trying to make a save in an outlet while he's talking to the booth. The talent that is there for the network has to come down when they get a hot tag, but they cannot leave the IFB and the microphone behind. They literally have to continue to play with that on. So that way they can have the conversations and they can still call the match. They can still analyze and do whatever. But the TV folks and the radio folks, if you have, Joe Tollison and, Ray Hudson or whomever calling the match, you tag in Ray Hudson. Hudson's still got to have his radio gear on.
Yeah, this is, again, we fixed this for you, Major League Soccer. Our emails are open.
Mm-hmm.
So get with the program, figure your ish out.
Mm-hmm.
And call us.
Yeah. I mean, Andy, by God, is that Carlos Vela? I mean, sure. If he wasn't voted in, if he wasn't brought in as one of the 24, and you want to have him as an unannounced wild card, surprise entrance, Royal Rumble style, but you got to do it with the buzzer and the countdown clock.
Oh, well, we're absolutely having Drew McIntyre show up.
Yeah. And have him wear his...
he's coming in with a Rangers shirt.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's coming in with his Rangers XXX jersey. So what? It doesn't matter. Drew McIntyre is coming in. He's there. Sheamus, you could have him wearing his Liverpool gear. Could you imagine Kevin Egan / Kevin Patrick trying to bounce off of Sheamus or Drew McIntyre and try to win the ball away from either of them? That would be epic and amazing.
No, I cannot. But man. Rich says the best ever was the NHL rookie game. Unlimited subs, running clock, no face off. Threw a puck out there and told him to go.
See? I mean, honestly, you run like hell for 45 minutes.
Rich McIntyre is also a known Rangers fan, which is a much healthier life to live right now than being a Man U fan.
Yeah.
He's also said in an interview that numerous people backstage have claimed Celtic fanhood just to piss him off.
Not a surprise.
Sheamus repeatedly was claiming Celtic just to antagonize him.
Absolutely.
That's no other reason.
Yeah, and so then what you probably end up doing is you make sure that you have Drew McIntyre and Sheamus on opposite teams. Or do you have them on the same team and fighting over the ball? That would be the larger question. So, I mean, Andy, who's watching on the YouTubes, God bless you, 3 30-minute periods. Do you want to do 3 30s like the NHL? Or do you want to stick it to 2 45s without any kind of stoppage time? Basically, if you're running around like hell for 45 minutes, you stop at 45 and there's no added time. And you have, but then the question belies itself. Who's the man in the middle? Who is going to be your center ref for this? All things being equal and taking the current situation out of play. Is it Ismail Elfath? Do you have a guy like Elfath in the middle? Do you think he'd have a sense of humor about the whole thing?
It just depends. Do we get a new contract for?
Well, I know. All things being equal, I know that was an easy dig, but I mean, all things being equal,
Chris Penso's giving a red card during the All-Star game.
Absolutely,
it's absolutely, it's absolutely not gonna be. It's Chris Penso is gonna be giving a red card during the All-Star game, and it's not gonna be a fun red card. He's gonna be like genuinely upset at somebody, and Chris Penso's giving a red card in the All-Star game.
Like he's gonna give a red card to Kevin Egan for doing.
It's gonna be dissent.
Yeah. So basically, Kevin, I could see it right now. Kevin is dissent on Penso, or Penso met him at the hotel ahead of time and had some information allegedly. And then they go to the match, and then when Kevin wanders out onto the field for the first time, Penso goes straight red. Literally, Kevin walks right out, and he's about ready to do his first shift, and Penso stops him, gives him a straight red, and Kevin has to go. Literally, something like that. Andy's like, do a pinball machine, you hit certain targets, they throw in so Andy wants Moneyball. I think
Rich wants USL All-Star, 4 teams from East, West, League One, and Super League.
Hey, or W. You throw in, you get the W to go with the Super League. You throw that in there. But see, now, Andy, to your point, do like a pinball machine, you hit certain targets. We actually had Moneyball coming in the last 10 minutes of the half. So literally, we would go Moneyball for the last 10 minutes of each half. So you'd have 2 balls out there and doing whatever. So that was something that we did consider. Rich, I think the USL All-Star Game idea would be awesome because, and honestly, you get a team like South Georgia Tormenta, who's got USLW and USL League One. I mean, you call Amy Andrews back from Durham? Do you call in the players that are getting international call-ups right now from USLW with South Georgia Tormenta, and that have been getting reps in the W Gold Cup? That's what I would do. You bring all those folks in here. But
we can fix your All-Star Game MLS. Just please let us, or just don't do it. Like the other option here, amidst all of this fun, is just don't do it. Give everybody extended period off. Let them go on vacation. Let them do the weird things they do in Europe, where like I know Scottish teams will like go to somewhere warm because they have to take a winter break in December because the fields are literally permafrost.
Yes.
And you can't play in the northern fields. And they'll go to like the Middle East or like Tenerife or something.
Yeah, they'll go to the Canary Islands and put in a week worth of work.
Yeah, let it, like, I don't know, give guys a week off to go somewhere in the summer. Like, hey, they want to go to Disney, they want to go to Acadia National Park.
Yeah,
let them live their best life, man. You could just scrap the whole damn thing.
They implement the orange ball.
Yeah, well, I need a clarification. Ooh. Hutch is saying change the type of ball being used whenever it goes out of bounds. Hutch, specifically, what do you mean?
The orange ball.
Do you go orange ball? Do you go?
No, you change the shape.
Yeah. So I mean, well, but
or the size or both.
Yeah, and so this is what I was trying to get at. Do you have soccer balls with various PSI? Like one is slightly above what it's supposed to be. One is it's like the Three Bears.
It's a size. If the ball gets dribbled out of play, John, a size 5 ball is going to come flying back in.
Okay, all right, I can see this. So I have zero issue with the changing.
A size 3 ball is going to come flying back in.
Okay, so Hutch is like shape and type. So Hutch is like
Hutch is correct here, because imagine like a rugby ball comes the ball goes out of play, and the ball kid on the sideline hands you a rugby ball.
Okay, all right.
And you just got to go.
Yeah, and you've got to play by Australian footy rules. You've got to bounce it every 10 yards or something.
Well, no, we're not. No, you keep it on the ground. We don't want anybody getting hurt.
Okay, so you want it to continue to be soccered. You don't want to switch over to AFL rules.
That's the fun of it.
Okay.
You change it out, and then when that ball goes out of play, someone's going to throw in like a tennis ball.
Okay. And so Ronaldinho gets to juggle a tennis ball for a couple of minutes trying to score, and he probably would from 25 anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, so I see where this is going.
Just picturing Andre Blake infuriatingly trying to catch a tennis ball with those giant oven mitts.
And apparently Andre Blake is going to be back for the next leg of.
You're welcome, Rich. You get your goalkeeper back.
Yes. Andy's like, or every time it goes out, the ball goes down one size.
I'm fine with that. A 3 comes in, then a 1.
Okay. And then what happens? But then what happens if it goes over the boards and you get a 1? Do you play imaginary? It's like, hey, I'm
then it becomes a tennis ball.
Okay, you go back up to 5 and go back down to 1 basically every single time.
It becomes a tennis ball.
Okay.
Then a golf ball.
Okay, just checking.
Then a marble.
Okay, like I said, I was trying to. I needed a clarification. Yeah, I needed a clarification here. So that's what I was hunting for. So when, so basically we have added to our extravaganza last year.
Eventually, it's a Nerf ball.
Okay, yeah,
and not like a Nerf soccer ball, but like the whistling Nerf footballs that they used to advertise in the late '90s with Peyton Manning.
Yeah,
where like you throw it as.
Yeah,
those.
Okay, does it have the tail in the end?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
The tail is vital. So if you line this thing up and you kick it right, maybe you get a little rotation on it.
Yeah.
And you just get this whistling ball sailing through the air while whatever keeper has to make the save while also not laughing at the absurdity of this.
Hugo Lloris laughing at the absurdity of this, all wondering what he got himself into by coming.
Hugo's already wondering what he got himself into because he had to stand in the frozen tundra like he was filming The Gray Part 2 last week while giving up 3 goals to RSL.
Yes, and by the way, Ryan Hollingshead, after the match, he was less than pleased about all of that kind of stuff, and Hollingshead actually said that it would be something to take to the to take to the frickin' MLSPA.
What?
Here's first off, so what I'll do. All right, so Steve Cherundolo, you know how mad he got. So here's Ryan Hollingshead after the match, courtesy of LAFC. This is their post-game press conference. Here's what Ryan Hollingshead had to say when he was asked about it.
If I could ask one follow-up, as a player, is this something that you take to the Players Association? I mean, how do you guys sort of assert your rights saying here, I don't know, did you not feel unsafe on the field?
Absolutely. No, my lower back is killing me from, it's just like trying to run on an ice rink, right? You're just sliding and slipping the whole time. So the whole goal is just to not fall over and hurt yourself. And it absolutely will be taken to the Players Association. I know our rep will be having that conversation immediately. But the thing is, for us, we're fighting for big things here. We're fighting for Supporter Shield. We're fighting for MLS Cups. Like, losing 3 points here on the road in a place that we historically have been phenomenal, and a place we think we can come in and get 3 points, who knows if at the end of the season, that's what separates us in a Supporter Shield race. And so to have a game like this where you just can't even call it football or rely on any sort of skill in the game, it's just frustrating. And it's not Salt Lake's fault. They're doing what they were told to do. We have to play too. And credit to them, they came out grittier and willing to I don't even know, play, I guess, with the conditions. So we'll have the conversation before, or for sure, but at this point, what do you do?
So Hollingshead wants to go to the MLSPA with what happened in Salt Lake City or in Rio Tinto. Last time I checked, RSL scored 3 goals and you didn't, and the conditions weren't any different. So they seem to have navigated it pretty well.
I mean, he acknowledged that, though.
Yeah, he did. That's the thing. It's like you acknowledge that they play better, but no, we're going to take it to the MLSPA.
Yeah, they're going to take it because, I mean, I think one of the reports was like it was a significant amount of snow that fell.
Yeah.
By the end of that game, John, have you ever played Donkey Kong Country? He asked, half knowing the answer. So there's a level of Donkey Kong Country in the middle part of the game that's in the snow, and it's tricky because it's ice and your mid-90s rare software giant gorilla can only only do so much. But as the level progresses, the snow gets more intense to the very end, where it's almost like a whiteout and you can barely see what's happening. That's kind of how the end of that game felt.
Yeah. And so, good on you. By the way,
Go ahead.
Here's Steve Cherundolo, by the way, after the match, courtesy once again of our friends at LAFC.
Steve, difficult conditions to play in. What kind of positive takeaways can you take away from this match and the fight?
I'm not sure there are any positives other than we didn't have any injuries. It was not difficult conditions, impossible conditions. An absolute joke that we had to play today. Not safe for the players. One of the worst professional sporting events I've ever seen in my life. I feel terrible for the players. We put them through this. Game could have been and should have been called many times beforehand. In my opinion, an absolute disgrace that we played today.
So there you go. Steve Cherundolo.
Yeah. They were not happy to have played that game in the snow.
Were you able to find out if he played in the...
He did not. I checked.
Okay.
But you know who was on the bench in that game? Breck Shea.
Oh, belated happy birthday to Dane Brecken.
Belated happy birthday to everyone's favorite waterfowl.
Yes. Dell, who had Donkey Kong Country on their bingo card for the morning show? Not me, but that's how this rolls. That's just how we're wired. Abby says, still likes having 4 teams of different ages, 2 teams playing each other 24 and younger, 2 teams 25 and older. So she wants to have like youngins and then vets. And so you got all that kind of stuff. And by the way, Hutch on Twitter posted a story where apparently there exists a variation of soccer where 3 teams face each other at the same time. It literally looks like the old TNA ring, where it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's a six-sided deal. And it literally is a variation of soccer where you have 3 teams face each other at the same time. I don't know if you could do that and do it on a regulation surface, but yeah, Hutch says that there is a way to go about things with a 6-sided pitch and 3 teams playing at once. So you got that. But yeah, I mean, we announced the All-Star game literally, and for the second year in a row. For the second year in a row, Maddie, we announced that the All-Star game exists, and we fixed it again.
Listen,
we continue to fix the All-Star game. MLS listened twice to Jarrett. They didn't do anything having to do with the game itself, but the skills competition, they brought in 2 of Jarrett's ideas. They brought in goalie wars, and they brought in the idea of Liga MX versus Major League Soccer. So they're listening. They're listening. They're just not implementing the whole thing. We're on the right track. They just need to take more of it and go. So what we'll do is, like I said, public service. We'll post last year's fix of the All-Star game to the network later today, and we'll pull this fix of the All-Star game and post it separately for the morning show this morning. So we are fixing Major League Soccer's All-Star game a year at a time.
I'm just happy I was able to be a part of this one.
See? Yeah, see? I mean, honestly, that's the thing. How did you finish your last sentence?
This was fun.
Right. Exactly. That's what we're getting into here. That 3-letter word. Oh, my God, let's have some fun. And you don't want folks injured. And you do that with the minimizing of the players being out there on shifts. You do the hot tags, those kinds of things. Look, if somebody's gassed, I mean, seriously, if Kevin Egan is gassed after 7 minutes of running around there with MLS stars and legends and stuff, and he has to hot tag out after 7 minutes, fine. Dude's got a game to call. He's got something to analyze. I think it'd be fantastic. But once again, to keep folks from being injured, you go out, you make your one run. You know, Ronaldinho's out there, and he goes from one end to the other, and he does some skills and some tricks and everything, shoots on goal and scores or comes close, and Andre Blake makes a save, or Hugo Lloris looks at him and is just like, yeah, I'm going to let Ronaldinho score, and he's mesmerized by the whole thing. You got to have fun with this. And late in a game of Liga MX and Major League Soccer, you run the risk of this being the tease to Leagues Cup. Things get a little chippy. You don't want that. I mean,
Well, you don't want
Greg Carr's got
injuries.
injured in one of these things.
Exactly. You don't want injuries. So that's been like the biggest thing, at least my biggest gripe with it, is I'm like, we play this game, we have this break, and I'm like, some of our players get picked to be on the All-Star, which is it's great. I'm glad that they get picked, and I'm glad that they're a favorite. I don't want them getting injured. I don't want them going out there and getting injured. I was very grateful that I think the last year we didn't have. Did we have anyone? We only had one, right?
Yeah, name is Thiago.
Yeah, it was Thiago, but I don't think Thiago. Did he? Am I going crazy?
No. I mean, it was a cup. I mean, it was a cup of coffee. And Hutch is also now suggesting on the Twitters a personal skills contest, and he's posted the video of Sina Sakurai, who is doing some amazing tricks and things like that. Look, whatever makes it fun, and whatever makes folks not get injured, that's what we're looking for here.
Absolutely.
And when you have all of these ideas that we are all workshopping here on the morning show, and coming out with all of this and having fun with it. And I know that Kevin Egan is a part of one of the central media fulcrums of this, because I know he plays pickup. That you get that desk of Kevin, BWP, Sasha, and Kalen Kyle. You get them out there for hot tags. They'll run and do it.
Absolutely.
Give them a couple of minutes. I mean, I would do it, but I would stand around because I sure as hell have no endurance to do anything like that.
I could do it. It'd be so fun.
Well, I mean, I would probably run and point, or turn into a coach or something and sit there and yell from the sidelines, or lean over the bench or something and do something like that. But yes, have fun with an all-star game. Yes, I understand that this is all about the tease to getting everything squared away for Leagues Cup, but we here at SDH want folks to enjoy it. We want those who are engaged and have to be playing it to enjoy it. And we want it to be an enjoyable experience across the board. We don't want chippiness. We don't want injuries. We understand rivalry, but an all-star format is not the place for it.
Nope.
So once again, we humbly submit the Soccer Down Here collective fixes to the all-star game and to all-star weekend. Like I said, you pulled 2 from us last year, 1 happening yesterday and 1 happening during skills competition. So pull another 2. Hell, pull the 45 minutes from last year where we were workshopping it and the 15 that we did today. That's an hour's worth of fixing of the MLS All-Star Game that SDH, the Twitch Pitch, and the Morning Show have graciously workshopped to give to Major League Soccer. We want this to succeed. We want this to be something that folks are gravitating to watch instead of sitting going, oh, great, there's another All-Star Game. We want the soccer community to enjoy an all-star game and a format and a program. So please, hand to heart, other hand in the air, take our ideas, give us credit. Let us be the grand marshals of the thing.
Agreed.
That's all that we're looking for here. Take our ideas, please. I feel like Henny Youngman. That's your Google search for today, kids. Take the ideas, implement them into future MLS All-Star games and weeks. Enjoy. Bring in the casual individual who might not have seen the All-Star game before. And they come in and see all of this madness that is there, that has been created by those who love what's going on and want it to succeed and want the league to grow and be noticed. And yes, the thought was from Andy, the Euro snobs would lose their minds. That's up to them. If they don't want to take it for the fun that it's supposed to be, that's what we refer to, Andy, as a them problem. We're there to have fun. It is an exhibition. It is an exhibition, not a competition. So please, as always, no wagering. Although the side bets on who would be coming in for celebrity run-ins and hot tags would probably be off the board. And you'd have people searching hotels trying to figure out, oh, there's a sighting of there's a sighting of Edinson Cavani. Oh my God, Cavani. So put him on the board for the juice boxes. Make this an enjoyable experience for everyone. Like I said, I get it's a tease for Leagues Cup. I get it. but you want to draw in the casual viewer. How else do you draw in the casual viewer than making it fun? Clint Dempsey and the CBS folks are there. You know, you get Micah Richards on a hot tag. You get Dempsey on a hot tag, and he cleans somebody out. Like he goes to try and clean out Drew McIntyre or Sheamus. Then he's done. Like one dribbling exhibition, shoot, hip check, take somebody out with a tackle. Dempsey's done, but he's got to wear the IFB and the microphone, and he goes back up to his desk. Those kinds of things. That's what we want. We want this to be a fun experience. So please, MLS, a positive. Take our ideas. We just want credit. We want a seat at the table. We want to have our own desk. We want to do kind of like our own live little thing. We want to be active in the week. But you're more than happy to continue to take our ideas, as we've done for 2 years in a row. And Andy, if the Euro snobs are bent out of shape and they don't understand it's an exhibition and supposed to be a place where people are having fun, that's on them. That is legitimately on them for not having a sense of humor. Oh, you're soiling the beautiful game. It's an exhibition. It has nothing to do with determining who stays and who goes. If a European soccer fan had their Premier League side come to the States, and it was Arsenal or Manchester United or whomever, and I know if you're a Manchester United fan, depending on who it was that would get injured, you wouldn't care. Like if Harry Maguire or Scott McTominay was the one that got injured, then you wouldn't sit there and go, yeah, well, that's okay. But let's just say, let's say Garnacho's out there for a cup of coffee and he takes a wrong step. And he twists his ankle, and he's got to go back to England, and he's not going to be there for whoever the manager would be, because apparently there's talk that Eric Ten Hag isn't going to be there next season. You know, if it's Chelsea and Conor Gallagher takes a wrong step, and then he's got to go back to England for the balance of the Premier League season, get ready for training camp, and you don't know how long you're going to be without him, and Mauricio Pochettino might not be there, because now they're looking at other dudes possibly to take over for Pochettino. So Premier League training camps would be ruined if certain individuals are injured. But what good does it do a Premier League side when you're bringing up dudes who are wearing 60s, 70s, and 80s to go up against an MLS side? What good does that do Major League Soccer? It doesn't. And if a European fan who would have their European club attached to a exhibition, what good does it do to kvetch about something that is an exhibition anyway? How about we're soiling the beautiful game? It's an exhibition. It's a made-for-TV event. So the European fan in this situation, if they lose their minds, that's on them. That is absolutely on them if they lose their minds. That is a them problem of them problem proportions.
They're just jealous that they don't have it.
See, I mean, if we ended up, if we did as a part of soccer over there, and Nick, by the way, who is traversing the planet right now, and he is shooting beautiful things, and he's having to be in multiple cities in the same day. So that's why Nick is on extended leave doing real world stuff. But if you're a European-based soccer fan, and you have an instance like this, where you're upset that, the colonists are at it again. They're doing things that are so anti our game. You didn't think about it first.
Agreed.
You didn't think about having fun first.
They're just jealous that they didn't come up with it sooner.
See, it's about having fun. It's about growing the game. And if you have something that is ad infinitum, ad absurdum, like what we are proposing and have been proposing now for 2 straight years, when it comes to fixing the MLS All-Star game, FUN fun. That's what it's about. So relax. I feel like I need the Aaron Rodgers drop, but I don't have it. Relax. It's about having fun. Let's have more fun with it, so folks don't get injured. Let's see Kevin Egan try to take out Sheamus or Drew McIntyre on a slide tackle and feel like he's running up against a sequoia. Those are the kind of things you want. Andy, kind of in the style of the WNBA three-point contest, stack of balls to take shots. There's one of those shooter-tutor nets on the goal. That'd be kind of fun. Andy, yeah, but Don Garber told me the schedule's too congested. There's no time to add fun stuff. Fun stuff? I mean, hey, you gotta have fun stuff, especially since it's a Monday or a Tuesday and a Wednesday. That's middle of the week. Time to have fun. Dell, that's right. Dell got tickets to Manchester United and Liverpool at the fairgrounds in Columbia, South Carolina. Not a sentence I thought I would ever be able to say. And the ticket prices were, oh my God, expensive. And so,
yeah, I figured they would be.
Yeah, see, and Dell says he doesn't mind seeing youngsters who are the future of your team, right? Because that is a self-contained Premier League exhibition. It is two of the storied clubs on this planet traveling to Columbia, South Carolina, where if they go just off of the USC campus, they can get some really good chili dogs and maybe some good barbecue. But it's an exhibition. See, it's an exhibition there. You'd like to see them having fun. Oh, my God, there's that three-letter word again. Manchester United, Liverpool, and Columbia, South Carolina. Yeah, you're going to maybe see some of your big stars wave at you from the field. You know, Garnacho waves at you. Bruno Fernandes waves at you. Hi, Columbia, South Carolina. I'm glad I'm here. You know, those kinds of things. So you're going to pay $190 to be in the building. I don't even want to see the resale prices as we get closer to the event. But I know that lower level, I saw somebody trying to slide $1,000 a ticket for like the first row in the corner.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, on the sale of the resale of tickets.
That's crazy.
Yeah, 430, 190. That's what I was seeing because I had a pre-sale code, and literally it was one of those. Let's just see. And it wasn't like $60, $70 to get in the door. It was like 190 to 150 to get in the door. So you're cool with that. And 60s, 70s, and 80s and young kids. And it's going to be a glorified kickabout where then you could go to the SDH created all-star game for Major League Soccer, probably not pay as much as that, whatever venue you're in. And oh my God, have fun with it. The glorified exhibitions that the Premier League sides they do with touring, yes, it's about marketing. I get it, perfectly fine. But the fun aspect does not exist in that vacuum. With an all-star game format, it exists in that vacuum. And the European fan needs to understand this is a gap time. This is a gap time in the schedule. So let's have fun, even though apparently according to Andy, Don Garber told him the schedule's too congested. No time to add fun stuff. Then what is an all-star game if it's not fun? So it's an extraneous piece to the schedule. If it's not supposed to be fun, you're supposed to. Are you ginning up the energy for Leagues Cup by saying, "Oh, this is the precursor to the competition"? Rawr! One of those kinds of things. Hutch is saying, or bring back the blue suit. Dell, yeah, or Dell, we actually have. I mean, the OCSC folks, they're in here. They're watching. They're at breakfast, man. And the fact that they can come in here at breakfast, I fully respect that because I try not to be awake West Coast time when our show kicks off. Maybe toward the end of our show, West Coast time is when I wake up every day. I fully respect everybody on the West Coast that comes in and watches and listens to us live. Yes, Dell got a ticket so you can report for the show, and you should. After the match is over, the following day, we're going to need the 411 on it all. And my first question to you, Dell, is: was it fun? No, I know you're cool with Andy. Dell, I know you're cool with Andy. But my first question, Dell, for you after the game at the fairgrounds this summer: was it fun? Were the players looking like they were having fun? Were the 16, 17, and 18-year-old kids trying to go out there and go, I'm trying to prove myself? Does that sound like fun to you? The Europeans will sit there. Yes, we're going to take our clubs over to the colonies, and they're going to some place called South Carolina, and they're going to play. They're going to play in some large stadium. Who is Williams and who is Bryce? I've never heard of either of these folks. That's what you get. My first question, Dell, is going to be, was it fun? Did the players look like they were having fun, or was it a kickabout? Then compare it to what we have all collectively workshopped here to make the Major League Soccer All-Star Game the centerpiece of the schedule, that break in the schedule where folks can catch their breath a little bit. Was it fun? Oh, but I don't know about that. I don't know if we can have that kind of behavior when it comes to the beautiful game. I don't know. Exhibition. Bruh. Exhibition. Fun but sweaty. Well, it might be fun and sweaty for the folks who are tailgating at the fairgrounds. I don't know about the folks who are going to be there wearing the jerseys for Manchester United and for Liverpool. But yes, you will report back to us and let us know. First thing, my first question, did the folks look like they were having fun? Or were they just blowing through jerseys and taking hydration breaks and going, oh my God, how do we get out of here? That's what we're hunting for. Let's see. Andy, contrary to popular belief, the East Coast, the Pacific time zone is actually a thing. Andy is someone who was born in Los Angeles, in the suburbs of LA. I know. And trying to do a morning show when I'm out on the West Coast and sticking to East Coast time, that means getting up at 4:30 local and being on the air at 6:05. That is not fun. It's not fun in the Central time zone, much less in the Pacific. But no, born in the suburbs of Los Angeles, so I know all about it. And got family back there and in Orange County and LA County. All right, we got news. We actually have news and stuff. And Maddie has been on the ones and twos getting in all the news. We got a half hour to go. Once again, reminder that today, 5:30 and 7:30, it is Johnson, Gainesville, North Oconee from North Oconee High in Bogart. And it'll be a great girls match. Two teams off to hot starts between the Titans and the Knights. And Maddie and Jason will be on the call for that. And then at 7:30, I'll be on the call for the boys match, Johnson, Gainesville, and North Oconee. That's at 7:30, soccerdownhere.mixlr.com, mixlr.com. Thursday, it is, who do we have? Clarkston and Druid Hills. They are at North DeKalb Stadium, two very, very talented DeKalb County sides. That, once again, 5:30, 7:30. And then we're in Houston on Friday for Collins Hill and Mill Creek. Once again, 5:30, 7:30, boys and girls, soccerdownhere.mixlr.com. So the news from overseas, and there's a lot, and we might have to end up blowing through it, and we'll see what we can talk about. And like I said, Maddie's been on the ones and twos, and she has come up with some stuff. Paul Tierney has not been given a Premier League game to officiate after he was the man in the middle for the Forest Liverpool ending, and obviously angered everybody. And so Paul Tierney is not going to be the man in the middle for anywhere this weekend. So everything that happened there at the end of the match, and Maddie and Bart and Jarrett got into it yesterday. So it was Tierney's decision to award the drop ball to Liverpool instead of to Forest after the head injury. And so Paul Tierney is getting the week off. So we'll keep an eye on what's going on with Tierney and with everything there with the PGMOL. Also, according to our friends at the PGMOL, that they're kind of like the PGMOL has denied that they are punishing Tierney for what went down in the Liverpool Forest match. Ben Fisher at The Guardian, he said that Tierney will be VAR for Arsenal and Brentford. PGMOL says the appointment is not a punishment for his error. Refereed 22 matches this season, operated on VAR on 23. He was VAR 4 times last month, most recently a couple of weeks ago for Burnley's match to Arsenal. And at the end of the match, remember, Evangelinas Marinakis, the owner for Nottingham Forest, stormed out onto the field. There was a rumor that Marinakis chased him up the tunnel and confronted him. The folks at Nottingham Forest said that is not true, that there was no confrontation whatsoever. Stephen Reed was sent off after yelling at Tierney as he headed down the tunnel. Supporter ran onto the pitch from the Brian Clough stand, restrained by Murillo after he made a beeline for Tierney. And so, yeah, we went through all of the machinations. Mike Dean, and Bart said this yesterday, Mike Dean said it was a monumental error that Tierney made. Unfortunately for Paul, it's a mistake. It's a bad one, leads to a goal eventually. There's been a big fallout, rightfully so. And so Forrest has lodged a formal complaint with Howard Webb and the Premier League after the goal. Remember earlier this year when they lodged the formal complaint after Ivan Toney moved the ball and scored on a controversial goal late before scoring in a defeat at Brentford in January. Forrest have submitted 3 official complaints to the league over refereeing decisions this year. So Forrest, less than happy about all of it. And especially after what happened last time, understandably so. Yesterday, Arsenal beat the ever-loving you-know-what out of Sheffield United. It was over at halftime. It was 5-0 at the break. It was 6-0 by the time it was done. And Chris Wilder is admitting that he's probably going to be playing the kids going forward. Because he says that and I'm trying to find the words. If I remember the phraseology correctly, he said basically that his veterans were broken. So Chris Wilder is saying that, yeah, I'm probably gonna play the kids. I liked, and this is paraphrasing, obviously, but I liked how they responded when they were substituted in, and so he might end up playing the kids. They are 11 points adrift with 11 matches to go. Do not anticipate that Sheffield United will be making it out of the relegation zone. Andy, thanks as always. Out of the relegation zone this year. Burnley, identical record, better goal difference, but they are both 11 points adrift with 11 matches to go. Emilio. Just joined in, don't know what we're talking about. Come to the conclusion, reading general USOC controversy, season ticket holder membership gifts, overall MLS hate, and social media specifically. That will never be fun. And what am I getting into with this sport? Emilio, that's why we presented to everyone, once again, our second annual Fix of the MLS All-Star Game. We did a lot of that in leaving hour number 1, heading into hour number 2. Like I said, we'll post this, and I'll post this segment separately, but we try to have fun. And we fixed the Major League Soccer All-Star Game for the second week in a row. Dell, talking fantasy, so mad that Saka, his captain, got substituted in fantasy. Holland got a last-second goal, screwed up his masterclass in differential. Yeah, it was I had Alvarez, Holland, Foden, Ollie Watkins, and then the defense, I had some Arsenal players and some Newcastle folks in midfield, trying to make sure that I had lined up the competition properly, so I did pretty well. Keep an eye on Aston Villa. Speaking of which, they confirmed that they lost almost £120 million in end-of-year accounts. Remember, you can only lose in a 3-year period 105. Otherwise, you would be in violation of profit and sustainability rules. 7th place finish in the Premier League last year, return to European football. They revealed a deficit for the year ending May 31st of last year. Revenue up by almost $40 million, so up about 25%. Despite increased revenue streams by increased gate receipts, sponsorship deals, and commercial revenues, marginal profit of £300,000 the year before, loss of £120 million this past year. They said in a statement that they are in line with Premier League's profit and sustainability rules. Current financial year, they've confirmed that they've spent £63.7 million on new signings. Employee wage costs rose to £194 million, up from 9% increase in overall employee numbers. So keep an eye on Aston Villa for the next 2 years. When it comes to profit and sustainability, they're already over the 105 number. They got to sell, folks, and they got to turn some profits pretty quick. Also, the EFL has secured a record deal for their international TV rights across a 4-season period. Pitch International and Relevant, representing the EFL now until the conclusion of 27-28. Relevant's going to sell all the EFL matches, promotion playoffs, Carabao Cup, and 3 EFL trophy fixtures in the Americas. Manage all betting rights throughout the U.S. as well. So keep an eye on that. Where does that go? Where will Wrexham be seen in the near future now that Relevant has signed the deal with the Americas with the EFL? Erling Haaland in his -1 press conference as Manchester City gets ready for the knockouts in Champions League says he's happy at Manchester City, admitted you never know what the future brings. So, basically it's like, yeah, you keep your options open, but you have to say that. So basically, he gave a soundbite that represented both sides of the deal. No real surprise. Also on the board, I'm trying to blow through here. Ruben Amorim and Roberto De Zerbi are on the wish list for Chelsea. Remember, we talked about Pochettino not being there if somebody got injured, like if Conor Gallagher got injured in one of these in between the off-season friendly tours. Mauricio Pochettino said that he wasn't feeling the love this past weekend from the Chelsea supporters. Understandably so, considering you're on page 2. And Chelsea apparently have identified, according to Jacob Steinberg at The Guardian, Ruben Amorim, Roberto De Zerbi as potential replacements. Liverpool also interested in both Amorim and De Zerbi. So you got that. That's attached to Roberto De Zerbi and Ruben Amorim and the desires of Bowley Clearlake to try and have Mauricio Pochettino be the man to get them out. So we're going to spend all this money bringing Mauricio Pochettino, and you're on page 2. 11th in the Premier League. But once again, according to Steinberg, they're not going to make any rash decisions when it comes to the hierarchy and supporting Pochettino. After they lose the Carabao Cup final to the kids at Liverpool, that got folks even more hot. According to Steinberg, the future is likely to depend on whether or not Chelsea, who host Leicester in the FA Cup quarters in 12 days, get to Europe. Liverpool are looking at Amorim, who's led Sporting to the Portuguese title in 21. And then, of course, De Zerbi, who is getting a lot of respect for his work at Brighton. So the element there, and I'll get to that in just a sec, with Pochettino and De Zerbi and the press. I'll get to that in a second. Tom wants to know if all teams even give season ticket holders yearly gifts. People whining and crying about ours. Yeah, Dell, apparently Saka was sick. Chelsea fans sang an expletive-laden song to owner Todd Bowley. Poch said, "Blame me," according to Dell. And Chelsea fans outraged as Paul Scholes claims Phil Foden is much better football than Frank Lampard. Compare the evidence right now. Phil Foden is on a heater. He's on an absolute heater. So if you need to pick him up in fantasy, you should. By the way, if you have not signed up for the Fantasy League here with SDH, please do so. Go to the Jason Wright Agency on Facebook, Wright with a W. Jason Wright with a W, AGEN on the 280-character app and register. And I know that Maddie is chasing after registering because the Pro Rel invites for the Pro Rel League go out this week, I think, and we're off and running in the league this year. So join the league, have fun. Once again, Jason Wright with a W, AGEN on Twitter, the Jason Wright Agency on Facebook, and that will get you into the Fantasy League this year. So, yeah, MLS Fantasy. Yeah, we do have MLS Fantasy. So it is the Jason Wright Agency on Facebook, or as I type this in, or at Jason Wright with a W, AGEN on the Twitters. And so that's where you go. You sign up. There's a sheet that you fill out. You send it in. And then Jason and his orchestrators of the Fantasy League send you stuff to get into the league and beat me on a regular basis. So there you go. Also, from our friends at the Telegraph, and this is where Tom probably has to cover his ears. Everything about Everton, once again, and this is not news, but it's an update with the current situation. Tom Morgan from the Telegraph, quote, Headline: Everton future in peril of 777 takeover is not completed this month. Working capital and the new stadium financing for the Bramley-Moore Dock only assured until the end of the month. 30 days has September, April, June, and November. All the rest have 31, 26 days. Here's your first sentence. Everton's financial future will be plunged into major doubt by the end of the month if 777's proposed takeover remains unresolved. We've gone into all of the problems that are attached to 777. There's spin-off companies. How many different countries are trying to keep an eye on them? How 777 can't get any decent interest rates for loans. It's a mess with 777, and what they're trying to do is use this purchase to help out with their multi-club model so they can generate revenue to help the current losses that are on hand. So it is a circle that they're trying to make bigger to help out their bottom line by getting Everton, and they hope that having Everton can help them out with their financing in the overall, plus all the other clubs that they're a part of. Decision on the outcome can be ruled out for at least another week, according to the Telegraph. Meetings anticipated between the Premier League and the investment firm in the coming days to clarify outstanding questions face-to-face, and there should be a lot of them. Even if the board is satisfied, independent oversight panel called in to review conclusions under the new rules. Precedent set by Sir Jim Ratcliffe's 25% purchase of Manchester United led insiders to conclude that further process alone will take another 7 days. Once again, the Telegraph has mentioned 777. Our friends at Yosemite Football have investigated 777, and they have moved, meaning 777, to reassure their own staff over finances after the recent departure of their CFO. Once again, the conversations we had about Bermuda and Utah talking to each other about 777 and what their finances currently are. So keep an eye on that in the next coming weeks. So apparently financing for everything, including the Bramley-Moore Dock construction, 26 days and counting. Crystal Palace is seeking a Mark Gahey replacement. Top clubs are targeting the £50 million rated defender. So keep an eye on Gahey as everything is trying to get figured out by Crystal Palace and what they need to do with any and all possible substitutes when we're looking at what we're seeing from our friends at Crystal Palace, who seem to be happy just kind of hanging out, 11 to 14, that kind of a thing. Let's see what else is on the board. I know we've got to get to gossip, rumor, and innuendo, and there's some other couple of things that are a part of all of the discussions. Let me get into another couple of things here. Didn't know if you saw this. Sean Engel at The Guardian. Members of Parliament want more women's football boots to be made and sold amid ACL injuries. Apparently, a bunch of members of Parliament, and this is cross-party, this is both Labour and Tory, are saying that in a report, the Women's Equality Committee criticizes the brands for making only a handful of boots specifically designed for women's bodies, expressed concern that those that do exist are rarely stocked by UK's leading sports retailers, despite the fact, it says, that female footballers are between 3 and 6 times more likely to sustain an ACL injury than their male counterparts. A Puma exec told the committee the industry was just starting to understand there were multiple differences between the male and female footballer, ranging from biomechanics, bone density, and running action to other things. However, the committee said that a government task force, UK sports, scientists, fitness experts, and leading specialists was needed to tackle the problem to develop a long-term strategy to address sportswomen's health and physiology issues, including those related to kit. Also called for Sport England's This Girl Can campaign to be expanded to address the fact many girls are lost to sport and exercise before they start primary school, and to target women aged 40 to 60 to keep them active as well. So keep an eye on that. Interesting that we are now finally, at least in England, from the British perspective, chasing after the increased percentage of ACL injuries involving women's soccer instead, in addition to injuries in general. So that has been something that has been in and around the college game here in the States and a bunch of other places as well. But now you're seeing that occur in Great Britain with committees. And so we'll see if committees actually do something, or if it's just continued barking as we go. Going through the papers, gossip, rumor, and innuendo, what to watch, where to watch it, and anything else on your mind before we go. And Hutch, I'll get to your point here in a sec. Avoiding the 4-letter paper and the 3-letter paper as we always do. Telegraph, Chelsea have identified Brentford's Bernardo Cueva, technically their tactical statistician, as one of their targets to work in the club's new set-piece department. Newcastle edging closer to an agreement with Joe Ellington over a new deal. Co-owner Amanda Stavely taking personal charge of the negotiations. Also, let's see. We mentioned Tierney, Daily Mirror. Potential Liverpool managerial candidate Ruben Amorim would cost any club around £13 million to sign by the end of the season because of his decreasing release clause at Sporting Lisbon. Stood at 26 when he was appointed 2 years ago. Daily Record, Brendan Rodgers could face an SFA rap over his criticism of VAR official John Beaton following their loss by Hearts on Sunday. And so that's a small part of what's going on. There's a question that I will save for tomorrow. And it's a topic that we've talked about a lot, especially where Messi and friends are concerned. And we've been looking out here on the show and those in the Twitch pitch and a part of our conversations. I'm going to save this question for tomorrow. But remember, Tyler Pilgrim from Scarves and Spikes joining us at 9:15 to talk about Atlanta United. Anything else on his mind? Dylan Butler, the busiest man in the Northeast, hopefully joining us at 10 o'clock. That's tomorrow. World Soccer Talk was trying to figure out life in Major League Soccer after Messi and friends. And they pinned down a particular individual to possibly be the next big thing in Major League Soccer after Messi retires. Kyle Fansler poses the question, could it be Neymar that's the next star of season pass? So we'll give you a day to think about it. For me, it's a real quick one, but for me, the answer is no, but we'll get into it tomorrow. So Kyle Fansler at World Soccer Talk decided that Neymar might be the next big thing for Apple and an MLS deal going forward once Messi and friends are retired and have moved on to do other things. So we'll get into that tomorrow. So I don't think it's Neymar. Frankly, I think he's too injured. And it's just too much of a reach for me to say it would be that individual. But we'll talk about it tomorrow in between guests and things like that. So, Hutch, how does a major corporation selling clothes and equipment profess total ignorance of as much as 50% of their target market's needs? That is a question for those individuals. And the first group that builds the better mousetrap, they're going to be off and running. They are going to be so far ahead of everyone else when it comes to equipment and likes and desires and catering to safety in the game. The first company that addresses that lack of equipment and addresses how to fix that, they're going to be far ahead of everybody else when it comes to A, their bottom line, B, their desirability, and C, what they're doing to grow the game. So that is going to be, as a part of Business 101, something very, very interesting going forward. How do you address the issue? What do you do to fix it or make it better? I don't know if you can fix completely ACL injuries involving women's sports, specifically soccer as we talk about it. But how do you address it? That, for me, is going to be the interesting part going forward. Other gossip, rumor, and innuendo, once again, courtesy of all of the papers from around the world and all of those in the know. Manchester United, PSG emerging as frontrunners to sign Victor Osimhen in the summer. Liverpool might have to pay Bayer Leverkusen a world record fee for a manager. Remember we mentioned £13 million for Amorim? Liverpool might have to pay $21 million to bring Xabi Alonso back to Anfield, double what they paid to sign him. Bayern Munich will part company with Thomas Tuchel in the summer. This we know. And have had initial discussions with Alonso, who's leaning toward joining the Bundesliga club rather than Liverpool if he leaves Bayer Leverkusen. Because what is it we say? You never want to be the guy that replaces a legend. You want to be the guy that replaces the guy that replaces a legend. Xabi Alonso, if he goes to Bayern Munich, leaves Liverpool wide open. Number of Manchester United players believed Erik ten Hag will be replaced at the end of the season by Ineos, 4-letter paper. Tottenham's Ange Postecoglou will reject any offers to leave this summer, including from Liverpool. Spurs have sent scouts to watch Sporting Lisbon's Morten Hjulmand, 24-year-old Danish midfielder who has an Arsenal tattoo on his shoulder. Manchester United intend to sell Jadon Sancho this summer following his loan spell with Borussia Dortmund, irrespective of whether Ten Hag is still manager. Newcastle plan to send 19-year-old Gambian winger Yankuba Minte out on loan for a second successive season. Minte was signed from Odense Boldklub for £6 million last summer. He's been at Feyenoord this year. Real Madrid willing to raise their offer to Bayern for Alphonso Davies to £43 million. Davies wants to leave Bayern, who are lining up a move for AC Milan left back Theo Hernandez. Vincent Kompany continues to retain the support of the club's hierarchy, despite their hopes of survival being hit with the loss to Bournemouth 2-0 in the past weekend. Chelsea sent scouts to watch 21-year-old English defender Archie Brown, who plays for Ghent. Former Derby County youngster also being watched by Leeds and West Ham. Portugal forward Rafael Leao has played down speculation about a move to Chelsea or PSG by saying his future is at AC Milan. Abby says that you got to strengthen all the musculature around the knee as well as really work on proprioception training. That's a big word. That should help. We'll never stop ACL injuries. No, you will never stop it. But I think that in addition to the proper training that you mentioned, if you have the proper equipment, that would help out as well. So hitting it from both sides, I think you're spot on. It has to do with training and making sure that you are training in the right way, in addition to having the proper equipment to help. So I think that you're spot on. And Dell, you're right. Everyone is going to want Alonso. He's going to have his pick. No question about it. When it comes to Weston McKennie, could be back in the lineup on Sunday for Juve. Donovan Pine scored his first goal for Barnsley this weekend to help them in a 4-2 win. Also on the board, what to watch, where to watch it. Remember, Champions League today. We'll get into juice boxes in a sec. Soccer on TV today. You got the CONCACAF Hemispheric Extravaganza tonight. BN's got Copa Libertadores. Nacional Asuncion and Palestino at 7:30. BN and BN Español. If you don't have BN, you can pick it up at Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here. And you can get BN, all the BNs, Copa Libertadores, For the Fans, CDO, TIC, Nuestra Tele, Liga 1 Max and Max Pro, and the Ecuadorian League is back up and running as well. So there's a lot that you can get at Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here, including Libertadores. Champions League on Big CBS today. 3 o'clock, Real Sociedad and PSG. So if your favorite market has a 4 p.m. newscast for their CBS affiliate, it's either going to be on a secondary channel or their first news is going to be at 5 or shortly thereafter. 5:30 maybe. So if you like watching your local CBS affiliate, news might be a little late. FS2 has the CONCACAF Hemispheric Extravaganza. Union and Pachuca at 6. Andre Blake, healthy. Orlando City and Tigres at 8. Herediano and Robin Hood at 10. BN and Español simulcasting. 2 to NA has Bayern Munich and Lazio at 3. Univision simulcasting. Championship on the Plus. Ipswich and Bristol City at 3 o'clock. Paramount Plus has Asian Champions League involving the teams that we neither condone, endorse, nor promote at 1 o'clock. They have both the UEFA Champions League matches at 3. Triple header in the Copa de la Liga in Argentina at 5, 6, and 7:30. VIX has Real Sociedad PSG. And once again, in FS2 has the 3 matches in the CONCACAF League. coming up tonight. Now, let's get into the odds around the board. And as we go to the European description in Champions League, once again, just the 2 matches today, 2 matches tomorrow, and then they flip them. Bayern at home, big favorite against Lazio at a -357. Draws a +534. Lazio to win outright's basically a +900. Real Sociedad and PSG. Real Sociedad at home, slight favorite at a +140. Draws basically a +250. PSG to win on the road is a +200. So that is the juice boxes involving your activity in Champions League. In the Triple C tonight, Herediano massive favorite at home against Robin Hood. And it looks like the Herediano Robin Hood game has been moved to the early slot at 5 o'clock Eastern time. So 5, 7, and 9 instead of 6, 8, and 10. It'll be Herediano Robin Hood at 5. Once again, all this on FS2. Herediano big favorite over a -1100 against Robin Hood at home. Union favored at home against Pachuca at a +102. Draw and Pachuca to win outright, both around +245 to +250. And the purple team hosting Tigres. Tigres on the road favored at a +154. Draws a +221, and the purple team is a +173. Tomorrow, the Revs play Alajuelense at Foxborough. They're favored. And that plays into the discussion that we'll have with Tyler Pilgrim tomorrow. New England played Toronto on the weekend, lost. They've got Alajuelense tomorrow in Champions League. Then they come down to play Atlanta and take on United on the weekend. Same thing will be going on with Orlando City the following weekend as well. So Atlanta United gets teams who are having to juggle both MLS and CONCACAF as a part of their deal. Also, Dale wants to know when the USL show is coming on SDH. Kaler and the Merry Band are coming on 10 o'clock Thursday morning, 10 o'clock Eastern, Thursday morning. So the bat signal's out for Kaler. Thursday's going to be a packed show because also remember, you've got the semifinal with the U.S. women's national team late Wednesday night. They get the primetime slot. So Thursday is going to be Bart, I think Jason before he goes to practice for Atlanta United. Then it's going to be Kaler. Then it's going to be Nico. So Thursday is jammed with folks. And it's going to be a jam show. On Thursday, tomorrow, once again, it's going to be Tyler Pilgrim, Dylan Butler, hopefully at 9:15 and 10 o'clock. Yeah, Hutch, I'm with you. I like seeing over the air. Dell's rooting for Real Sociedad. I will. And so missed most of the show with phone calls. Abby, I'll call you later. And Dell once again mentioning what's going on the Plus later this afternoon at 3 o'clock. Maddie, one more time. What's on your mind before you go after everything that we've gone through this morning, including solving the world's problems?
Well, MLS.
Yeah.
Watch our stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Take notes.
Yes.
And make a fun All-Star game. And also, make sure y'all tune in tonight for all the high school matches. Hopefully, we don't get rained out.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on that. And once again, it's supposed to be raining. It was raining when we were at Peachtree Ridge last week, and we were freezing with Peachtree Ridge and with North Gwinnett. And I'm anticipating kind of the same kind of environment tonight. So bring your umbrellas and bring your stuff. It'll be great to see everybody in Bogart for North Oconee hosting our friends from Johnson Gainesville. Great to see matchups like this. A very, very busy week across the board here at SDH. So 5:30, 7:30. SoccerDownHere.mixlr.com. That's where the live is. You can also go to SoccerDownHere.net. Our website, click on the link that takes you through, and you can listen to it that way. Maddie and Jason on the call for the girls' game at 5:30. I'll be on the call for the boys' match at 7:30. Jason will have Atlanta Soccer tonight on 92.9 The Game after the Hawks and Knicks, and that might go until like 11:45 or midnight, considering all the fouling that is anticipated in this matchup with Eastern Conference teams. So it'll be great to see everybody in Bogart. Great to be adding North Oconee High School to our list of places that we will have called matches from for the Soccer Down Here Game of the Week, the Tuesday night throwdown presented by our friends at Kaiser Permanente. Back at it again, 9:05 tomorrow morning. So in a little under 22 hours, we'll talk about what happened today. We'll talk about what's happening tomorrow with guests, and we'll get you ready for a week in Major League Soccer. So for Maddie, for Jarrett, and for all of you guys, thanks for hanging out. And Dell, yes, she did do a great job yesterday, being thrown into the fire. Maddie anchoring hour number 2. And, don't be surprised if she ends up doing it more, just because. That's the official reasoning, just because. So for everybody here at SDH, I'm just John. Thanks for hanging out with us. Mucho plati, I'll play it safe. And since it's the end of the show, that means I get to do this. We'll be back at it again in a little less than 22 hours.